Tech2sDay. It's crazy here at the Bisimoto facility. Lots of work to do, lots of blood, sweat, and tears. Getting ready for Electrify Expo this coming weekend. So if you're in the greater LA area, please do come by. It should be a blast for Saturday and Sunday in San Pedro, California. Whether you love EVs, whether you're an EV or lack of an EV advocate or even EV curious, please come on by. It should be a nice event indeed. Thank you for all of you here on all my social networks, whether it is TikTok, Instagram, or even YouTube. Better yet, if you are part of my online podcasting network, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate that indeed. It's really nice. Engineer 16 is saying, which rims on the Porsche? If you're talking about these, they're kind of like old school DP wheels. Our Techmoto, good afternoon. Good seeing you indeed. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, so much love come from TikTok. Appreciate all of you as well. And on YouTube Live, thank you so much for joining, allowing me to have an archiving moment after these opportunities where we interact on Instagram and also on YouTube. We have a nice opportunity to keep them on there indefinitely. So you can always review, see what questions are answered, what kind of tech, what kind of cool stuff we have going on here, which is pretty nice. Hitting the ground running, I want to start off with something where I do have this pretty cool model, which is like a 935. Really cool indeed. And I wanted to use this to answer a question that came from one of the participants of the Bisimoto Tech2sDay. His name is Grind Civic CA, also known as Sedan, here on Instagram. Team No Haven is in Austin, Texas. Hopefully you are staying nice and cool out there in Texas. Thank you so much for asking and for joining the Bisimoto Tech2sDay. What stood out this week over at the Expo besides the models, says our Techmoto, and our Techmoto is referring to the most recent Spocom event. That event was put together by the team at Spocom. Just amazing team in distribution and so on and so forth. It kind of reminds me of the old school Hot Import Nights. And we had, 5 cars on display there. The Moby that was right here behind me, the cool C6 police car turbo setup. Also had the Zax wagon, all-wheel drive B series setup is there as well. And then my good friend Willie with his twin turbo Cayman was there as well. Big Mike was also part of our group there, and we had a good time interacting. Ryan from Rywire was there with his EV red Civic. So it's a very good mixture of vehicles, whether they're domestic, import, whether they're European, or even something from Japan, JDM stuff. It's just great stuff. Lots of variety, lots of great people. I had the unique opportunity, first time ever, to judge a bikini contest, which is quite interesting, but it was really good nonetheless, and we had a great time. What stood out? Some really cool cars. One in particular was that crazy Lamborghini with a 2JZ setup in it with a huge turbo. That was pretty cool to see right next to us as well. Of course, it's great to see so many variety of vehicles there. And it was good to see that this Moby was there, which wasn't the craziest car, I would say, but could probably spank almost everything in that particular arena, which is pretty cool. Lots of McLarens, which is quite interesting. Anyway, back to the question of the hour. Grand Civic CA asked a question where he saw a video online in Instagram about a vehicle on the dyno, and it was on a hub-based dyno, and what ended up happening is the whole front end lifted up. So it got lifted up while it was on a dyno, and he's like, how is that possible? I've never seen that. And I do get that indeed, because if you take a look at standard dynos that are quite popular in our arena, the roller dynos, they're typically strapped down where the front of the car is strapped and the rear strapped, so it's kind of strapped down to the ground. I don't like those dynos because they have limitations in terms of tuning partial throttle. In addition to that, it adds a tighter interface, which creates a lot of variables. If your alignment is off, it scrubs power. If you have slicks to hold the power and you blow a tire, it can be quite dangerous. Many times, high horsepower vehicles, which we tend to do a lot of those, you have to sit on the drive wheels or put a lot of weight on it to help just create some kind of adhesion with that. In my opinion, I love the hub-based dynos like Dynapack because not only does it allow me the sensitivity to even see a change in horsepower by putting the headlights on, it allows me to do impeccable partial throttle tuning and full throttle tuning and it has the additional safety of not having the straps where the hubs are contained and bolted down to the rear or drive wheels. And that is kind of the device that keeps things in place. As you can see, the car can go back and forth while driving, right? And on the dyno pods can only go left to right. So when you put the left to right and cog it on the wheels of a car that can only go forward, it's completely locked. Now, why did that vehicle raise up the front? Think about it. When you're on a hub dyno and the hub dyno is connected to, in this case, the rear wheels, the only thing that's holding the front end down is the weight of the car combined with gravity. So if the energy to keep the weight down on the floor is exceeded by the power of the wheels that acts as a pendulum effect on the end or takes advantage of the fulcrum in the back wheel, when the energy that is placed on that exceeds the energy that is allowed to keep the wheels on the ground, you can have a moment where the front wheels can come off the ground. So mind you, the wheels are spinning, right? It's spinning like it's going forward. And as it's doing that, it wants to have energy opposing the ground in front. Almost like when you launch a car, when you're drag racing, high horsepower car, you feel your body move backwards. That's what happens here. Energy transfers to the rear. When that energy is so overwhelming that it overcomes the force that is pushing downwards on this based on gravity, you can literally have the vehicle come up. What we've seen on our dynos where we're not, pushing a 2,000 to 3,000 horsepower, we can see the car like actually lift up in the front. You actually, while tuning, you can feel it just lift up, which is cool, makes sense. But if the power is so much that the resistance and the force is exceeding the force to keep the nose down, you will literally see the front wheels come up. Pretty crazy, right? Isn't physics fun? Anyway, so I hope that answers your question properly, Grand Civic CA. I assume based upon your screen name that you're in Canada. But thank you so much for that question. I appreciate that indeed. Man, TikTok message character lyrics suck. Back to IG says Corvote, who goes to all the cool networks. He's on Instagram sometimes, and he's on TikTok, and he's on YouTube. Appreciate you indeed, Corvote, fellow enthusiast and hardcore EV builder as well. Appreciate that. What is your favorite classic American car, says Alex G2888. You may think it's crazy, and it is a classic, but first gen Viper. I think that thing is beautiful, amazing, raw, terrifying. That is my favorite classic car. It is the first gen Viper with the little composite, like cloth top, or like vinyl, or whatever material that was. But it looks pretty cool indeed, you know? Oliver Herals on YouTube says, oh my God, the car. Thank you so much. I don't know what you're referring to because I have some beauties here. I have a 72911 right here, wide body. Have the Bisimoto Mobi right there with the front deck pop. Have the the Rolls Royce EV right there and the Caterham EV. Have a lot of nice cars, but I'm curious which one. But either one you choose, they're all pretty cool. So appreciate that indeed. What's the little green thing? That is a Lotus 7 Caterham that we convert to electric. Do you ever sponsor anyone? Says Truthman. I sponsor a ton of people. It has to be a give and take opportunity where we sponsor teams and individuals that can help us grow our business. It's not a matter of giving free parts. It's a matter of a give and take relationship where they help with the Bisimoto brand while we help them with components they need to exceed their expectations for performance and enjoyment of their cause, which is pretty cool. I love your stuff. I first seen you on Netflix, says Shadowy Wizard. Thank you so much. Appreciate that indeed. What's keeping you from getting a Viper, says David Foster. I've owned one. Forgive me for not posting more of it. But 2014 Gen 5 is what I had, a GTS black on black, absolutely gorgeous. Put some nice, like, it was like, I wouldn't call it gold, but more like a brushed, what would that be called? Like a dark gold, but like a brushed, dark copper look to it. And it was beautiful. Love that car. Got an offer from my neighbor here who kept bugging me to sell it to him. And I said, no, RB, I'm not selling to you. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I sold it. So yeah, I've had a Viper. It's pretty good. Hello, build it, race it, break it, repeat. Good seeing you. Do you like motorcycles, says Shadow Wizard? I do. Love the technology in motorcycles. I own a trike, a Can-Am, never a motorcycle, only because two wheels, in my opinion, are crazy dangerous. Not because I don't feel I could be a good driver, or not that I don't trust a lot of bike drivers. I just see how people are rude on the motorways towards motorcyclists. It's just, bicyclists and motorcyclists, anything in two wheels, people are wicked. And I've seen so many mishaps. I'm like, you know what? I'll stay on four wheels. That's what I'm doing, you know? Have you ever heard of a 2000 Mercury Cougar with 1,000 front-wheel drive? No, I have not, but please send me some details. I'd love to see unique projects because that's my jam. I love seeing things that are quite unique, especially sleepers. All right, it was nice seeing Expo come as well, Dizzy S2K. So good seeing you. What a great event. Wow, that thing ended at 10. We didn't get home till almost midnight. It was pretty crazy, you know? Is that a Silver Spur or Spirit Royce? That is a Silver Shadow, neither one, Silver Shadow. But thanks for asking. It is a 1976 that we backdated to make it look even pre-70s. Is the body made from carbon fiber? And if so, not then why? Says Tech. And if you're asking about the Moby, it's because I am a very big stickler with staying with the original ethos of these wide-body, boxy race cars. In the 70s and 80s, Porsche raced these, in this case, the Andial 935L, in fiberglass, and we pulled from the exact same molds. So the molds that Andial, now known as Porsche Motorsport, used in the 70s for the Moby, that's it right there. K3V, Kremer did the same thing, did not use carbon fiber, they used definitely fiberglass, we did the same thing. The only thing I do with carbon fiber, Tech, is some small enhancements to still make it a little more modern, but without taking away the ethos or the look of the original 935. So in this case, I do have carbon fiber in the interior. I do have carbon fiber as a front splitter, and that's it. And then on the K3V, the Kremer, same thing. The front splitter is carbon fiber instead of fiberglass or wood, and the rear wing instead of fiberglass is also carbon fiber. And I continue with that, you know, definitely. Now, as demand dictates, as people ask us to keep building cool things for them, and if we get a client who wants carbon fiber, by all means, we can be able to replicate that without a problem at all. I thought it was an MG, says TJ Potts 86 from TikTok. Nope, it is a Lotus 7, but thank you so much. The Porsche Fate, I don't know what that means, car edits. Please try again, I appreciate you. The Porsche is fake, it's a green screen, says car edits. No car edits, it's not a green screen. This is actually the shop here at Bisimoto. That's a 72 911 Rolls Royce. That is a Lotus 7, Lotus Caterham 7. And that is the Moby which I've been driving. I drove to work today. I'm gonna drive it home this evening and drive it to Electrify Expo this weekend. So yeah, it's not a green screen at all, but thanks for the vote of confidence, I should say. You're absolutely right about the motorcycles, but it is my dream to V4s and H2s and a dream cars a Z06, C6. You have great toys, Shadowy Wizard. Keep it up. We need more creative builds in our arena. Amazing looking cars, says Tech2sDay 18. Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate you indeed. Cool, thanks, says Tech. My pleasure indeed. I'm here to help indeed. Owen gave me a number 2 gifter badge on TikTok. Thank you so much, Owen. I appreciate your presence and helping out a lot. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Does carburation make more power than EFI? Asked Kirby737. Kirby, that is a great question. Just like all injection systems are not created equally, same thing with carbs. But I'll share with you my experience in the carb arena to answer your question as a yes and a no. In the mid to late 90s, stretching into the early 2000s, if you look at any of my drag cars, they were carbureted. Not just any carburation, it wasn't a flying toilet or a Harley downdraft. In this case, there was side draft Maconis and side draft Webers. And each time I bolted on a set of Webers to an inline 4 engine or a set of Maconis, whether they're PHH 40s or DCOSP Webers, they made more power than it did fuel injection, as much as 15% more power. And you ask, well, why? Is it because of airflow? That was one. Is it because you're getting rid of a manifold that's a plenum base and going to individuals? Maybe. But the biggest gain I saw was in the atomization of the fuel. So think about what happens in the internal combustion engine. Being a glorified heat exchanger, it takes the chemicals of oxygen in the air and the fuel that's supplied with the caloric content of the fuel is injected in the combustion chamber, and through ignition via a spark plug, that is ignited and creates this huge explosion, controlled of course. Said explosion creates a lot of heat and pressure and pushes down the piston, which then takes that chemical energy with the heat and then converts it to mechanical energy, which goes to the crankshaft, which takes the up and down motion of the piston and turns it to rotational motion or energy. So what happens is the key to making power is to get as much air as possible with appropriate amount of fuel and exploding that mixture controllably to create great power. One thing you want to do is to make sure that as much heat of combustion is there to make work on the piston top to create more power for you. One thing that can hurt your power creation is when that heat is absorbed away, either by the cooling system, by the valve, by the combustion chamber, by the piston. That's why ceramic barrier coatings work so well in combustion chambers to keep the heat in, to do more work on the piston to create more power. Also, something that can rob away heat from you, which is the enemy of being able to make more power, you want that controlled heat to be able to do work, is the fuel itself. If your fuel is injected and it's big globules of fuel, guess what happens? That fat globule or globules of fuel take away the energy or the heat from the combustion chamber. Now you're not as hot in combustion chamber, and combustion chamber doesn't do as much work on the piston. That heat is done to help keep the fuel in atomization, to help almost evaporate it. You want to put the fuel in your combustion chamber as finely as possible. One of the reasons why direct injection works so well, because the fuel is stratified or atomized so finely that it doesn't absorb a ton of heat from the combustion chamber. So what do carbs do? What does it have to do with carburation? If you take a look, and this experiment in school almost got kicked out of college because of it. If you take a look at how fuel is atomized with carburation, it is beautiful. The injectors we had in the 90s in our standard EFs and EGs into the 2000s, those injectors, when you spray them, have like almost like a shower head spray. They weren't super efficient injectors what we had back in the day. And we're racing with those. And then I think if my memory serves correctly, you had Jackson Racing selling injectors. You had, I'm trying to think of this one brand that was very, very popular back in the day. And they sold a lot of Rochester and Lucas injectors. And those injectors weren't very good at atomizing. They just didn't have that pen tool that got a nice spray to it. And that being said, carburetors, when you look at how you have an inner venturi, and a venturi is just a device that goes from a cross-section area that's large slowly to a small one and rapidly opening up again, and increases velocity across that gradient. Carburetors have a large venturi on the outside to help with air and a smaller inner venturi. And the inner venturi has like a straw that introduces fuel. The way that air blasts into that inner venturi and just atomize the fuel, when you look at the other side of the carburetor, it looks like a cloud. So this cloud is so fine and really does a great job in lending itself to creating power. Like, yes, when you put carburetors on versus old school injection, you make more power just from atomizing the fuel, and you're not absorbing a ton of energy from the combustion chamber. Now, what about today? Fast forward to today, we have amazing injectors from Bosch and other brands that do a great job in atomizing fuel just as good, if not slightly better than carburation. Plus, it gives us a lot more control, right? In my case, as I started racing injected vehicles, I even went higher in pressure, really high for a port injection. My fuel pressures were close to 190 PSI. And what I noticed is that the higher the injector pressure for the same type of Bosch injectors, the finer the mist of fuel that I had, the better atomization and hence more power. So that being said, I hope it makes sense why I said yes and no. Yes, because back in the day, there was no other options for injectors. Fast forward to today, we have much greater advances in injector technology, and hence we can make power equal to or even better than carburation, just based upon the atomization of fuel. So thank you. Oh yes, you are here in YouTube too, says SRD Motorsports. Yes, 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 thank you so much. Truthman says, what's the first car you ever worked on? It was my old 200SX Datsun or / Nissan. That was the first car I ever worked on. I changed my spark plugs and cap and rotor on that, which is the first one. Higher pressure, the finer biz, says SRD Motorsports on YouTube. Thank you for that, BC. You taught me more than decades ago, now with better injectors. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the kind words. Bichote1238 gave me #1 gifter badge on TikTok. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words and gesture and also the support as well. And for those of you joining, I am here on the Bisimoto Tech Tuesday. We are in a warm section of the year in Southern California. Hopefully you guys are safe with all the protests going around the country this particular weekend. We were at the Anaheim Convention Center exploring the lovely event known as Expo with a variety of cars. I ran into people and racers I hadn't met in many years. It's been a kind of crazy week, but in a good way. This past week, everything from the Evasive Motorsports launch of their new Hyundai Ioniq 5N race car for Pikes Peak to the Lobo 2025 launch, courtesy of Ford and Ford Motorsports, to the Expo event. And this coming weekend, another crazy weekend as well, both Saturday and Sunday in San Pedro, California, near the wharf, we will have Electrify Expo. And once again, whether you love EVs or you're EV curious, come on down. They have everything from cars to you can have the opportunity to drive e-skateboards, you can do e-bikes, e-trikes. There's even a kids corner typically. You have the opportunity to even drive some of the newer cars from Lucid, from Tesla, from Polestar, from Hyundai, from Kia, from Honda. I'll be there with a couple cars. A lot of my peers in the industry will be there as well. A lot of my technical partners will be there. It should be a great weekend indeed. Yes, hope you're all safe there in the US and Cali, and you too, BCM family. Thank you, SRD Motorsports. Curious to where you are, but thank you so much. Still like the potential rap album cover you posted on IG, says SRD Motorsports. That's so funny. Here's a throwback Thursday from a couple of weeks ago where I showed myself at the Pomona Raceway in my race suit, which I still have, by the way, which I'm going to be wearing again in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we have the very, very popular and sought after Fuel Fest. And this time, instead of being in Irwindale that closed down recently, Fuel Fest will be at the Pomona Raceway. So that being said, we'll have an opportunity to explore that, have a good old time. And I plan on racing a couple cars there. So if you're in Southern California area or if you can travel down here, please come out. That should be a blast indeed. Album name, every action comes to an equal opposite reaction. I like that, SRD. Nice little nod to our most popular Einstein scientist from Europe. But thank you so much, appreciate that indeed. Have you heard of Bianca Harker? No, I have not. Odyssey build was insane, says M.O.M. Jornerkin. Thank you so much, still have it. And don't want to give too much away, but the team is working on another Odyssey right there. No, can I show a little sneak peek? You can see that right there, see that right there? It's the Odyssey getting worked on right there. So we got some madness going on here at Bisimoto. It should be pretty good indeed, but thank you so much. Thank you for the kind words. Well, guys, I do have to fly. I'm sorry that my Tech Tuesdays have been so short of late. It's just been kind of crazy. I appreciate all the questions that came my way and also the insights and for all your support all these years. The best is yet to come by all means. And if you don't follow us on YouTube, please do. This project and more to come will be posted there as well. But thank you so much for all your support. Please stay safe out there. Please stay cool. Appreciate each and every one of you and look forward to interacting with you sometime next week. Have a pleasant one. Take care. Cheers.